Andrew, thank you very much for taking the time out today to talk with me. Greatly appreciate it. We're going to be talking about your book, which is the Entrepreneurial Bible to Venture Capital, which I'm holding up right here. And quick one: how can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you?
Sure. Well, email is probably the best, and my email address is andrew@rubicon.vc. So it's RUBICON.VC as in Victor Charlie.
Excellent. Hey, quick question for you to start this off: is why did you actually write the book?
Yeah, so I was running a venture capital equity exchange fund called the Founders Club. And we had over 50 CEOs that were all VC backed were participating in that. And every time someone was raising funding or looking at selling the company, and sometimes even both of those at the same time, I would give them my advice of what I think they should do. And eventually people said, why don't you write a book? I wish I knew this. I wish I knew what you're saying now before. It's a little too late. And I eventually said, enough people have suggested I write a book. I think I will do it. But rather than me tell the story of what happened to some other person, which I think could be useful for others to know, let me just reach out to that guy directly and ask him if he wants to tell his story. So I sent out an email to my newsletter, which was probably about 18,000 venture capitalists and VC-backed entrepreneurs, and said, if you've got a story where you learn something from an experience, and ideally, if you can make it an entertaining story too, it doesn't have to be, but we'll take entertaining every day we can, send me the story and I'll consider putting it in my book. So stuff came back from just all over the map. And then I started trying to organize it into different logical, pieces. So there's stories about how people have been successful starting a company out of nothing and then getting it to the point that investors were ready to consider it valuable enough, and how do you even get to a valuation? How do you close an angel funding round? How do you get the first money in the door without screwing it up? And then recruiting advisors, how to get your first venture capital funding in the door. And there's just lots of little examples. I mean, there was Rick Marini tells in his own words how he raised his Series A venture capital funding in San Francisco. And the reason I put him in the book was that he then, after closing $5 million from a VC, Rick went out and got 20 different angel investors to each write a check for $25,000. And he topped up his VC round with angels. Normally, angels invest before the VC.
Yeah, that's an interesting part. I was going to say usually it's before, is it not?
Right. And usually angels are not allowed really to invest after the VCs. Like if you're the CEO, and someone says, I want to meet you at Starbucks to talk about investing $25,000 into your company, and you're actually just closing a $30 million round with VCs, you probably don't even take that meeting. You can't be taking checks for 25K when you're doing your $30 million financing. Well, this is what Rick did. He went and got 20 different people to give him 25K each after Accel, the big, Facebook investor, funded him. And the truth is, most VCs are worthless roadkill. They destroy more value than they add value, despite their best efforts. Those angels that Rick got into his deal did more to help branch out, grow super fast than any of those worthless people at those two VC funds that he got. So he ended up surrounding his company with network. He had Sean Parker. The list of people that were in that angel round were just a total who's who. He got so much celebrity entrepreneur support that he was doing the exact correct thing for his company. So there's a lot of stories that are just actual true stories being told by the wonderful person, much more accomplished than me, and then it starts to have one cohesive voice.